So I've been home about an hour and a half after my one-to-one session. Um, I haven't actually even processed any information. My brain's only just kind of switching back on now after it, and yeah, I don't think it was as hard as last week, but I've kind of been made aware, like in group, of in a way how alienated I am from the rest of these people that are meant to be suffering the same thing as me, because I kind of turned up late, and as I sat down there was this girl crying, and I had no fucking clue why she would be crying. I couldn't understand why this girl would be crying, and it was to do with this girl had read, one of these other girls had read back through something she'd wrote years ago, and it had triggered her off, and it affected this girl. I've done that, I've read back through stuff I've done, but I felt nothing. I couldn't even understand why someone would feel that way. And today it just proved that, everything that's happened is just fact. There's no emotion in my head, and I can't try to imagine or even think what I was feeling back then, even though I was upset. I can't fucking remember what that upset is. And, realizing things like, you can't even remember how a relationship made you feel. And, it just, to have everything you've done and experienced kind of dismissed because it's incomplete. It's kind of hard. Not that they dismiss it, but to me it just seems I've done so much, and I've shared so much with other people, but all that's there is just fact. That happened, this happened. I can't even remember or feel the emotion of it. And it just makes me, feel so subhuman. I remember one of my first psychologists saying to me that one day you'll love and be loved. And it's like, I have loved. I've loved as I understand what love is. But being made aware that all this time when I've looked at people and gone, I want that, I want something like that, the reason I've never got it is because this brain won't allow it. And I don't know, even now I don't know what I'm feeling. It's like they keep telling me I should be feeling something, and how does this feel, and how the fuck does that feel, and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. I'm just frustrated. That's an emotion apparently, but it's I was so content with the way my life was, and now you've pointed out this thing, and it's just made me realise how fucking alienated I am from everyone. But it's only early days, so maybe there's some hope for me somewhere. I had my last appointment with my current psychiatrist before he hands me over to the personality disorder service, and it just felt like such a fucking waste of time. Because, you know, I was like, so, after all this time I've spent chatting away to you, any more ideas? And his answer was, no, you're just too complex. Don't even know what's wrong with you. Well, we kind of have an idea of what's wrong with you, but we don't know what to do about it, or really we just don't understand it. And I'm like, I've wasted all this fucking time speaking to you, and that's your answer. You don't fucking understand. And he was like, well, I suggest you start from the ground up with your new care team. And it's like, so what has the last 2 years been for if now I have to start right back at the fucking beginning? You know, it's like, why did I even live the last year of my life? Because everything that I worked so hard on isn't here anymore. You know, I'm exactly where I was 2 years ago. Why can't this stupid brain fucking work? Oh. So yeah, now I have to sit and tell complete strangers what it's taken me 2 years to do, and I've got to do it within, what, 2 weeks? And then it's what's their reaction going to be? Because, you know, it's he was just like, your world, it's your world that's wrong. We don't even understand the world you exist in. And he was like, yeah, you when we did the autism test, you scored highly on it, but because of the way you see the world, that's not an autistic way, so therefore we can't write that down as your diagnosis because we just don't know what's wrong with you. And there was this trainee fucking thing there. And when I was telling her, he made me tell her some stuff, and she just sat there with the look of what the fuck on her face. And he was just like, yeah, he's complex. So I'm so fucking complex, they've just passed me on to the next fucking person. So I just spent an entire, yeah, you know, since January 2011, talking to these people and building up friendships with people, and now nothing's there. None of it's there. So yeah. Yeah, had my hardest session in one-to-one today, mainly because after Friday I, you know, have to tell them all the stuff that I'd hoped they would find out by reading my notes. You know, all the stuff that, you know, I rarely tell anyone. So yeah, it was all talking about how I'm not meant to be in this body, and how the darkness pulled me from the void and chucked it inside this ugly frame, and how everything in my life is just governed by being told what to do by other things. And yeah, you know, kind of stuff that I haven't even told boyfriends about, or, you know, many people. It's all my private stuff. Not really, because I've not wanted to tell people, but every time I have, I've got punished by my shadow. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen at some point, because other people aren't meant to know. But that's all the cards on the table, really. And there was like other personal things, like things like, why have I got tattoos? And the simple answer for that is, I don't get tattooed because it looks cool or because it's the in thing. My tattoos are there simply because they put a permanent mark of self on a body that doesn't actually belong to me. So in a way, it's like a graffiti on this prison wall that, it's an indication of myself on, so like when people look at me and tell me how they think I look or whatever, like, oh, you're good looking and crap like that, it means nothing, because this isn't, like I said, isn't even my body. And the only reason I'm sat here talking about this is because I've just done it, 2 hours ago. So there's not much more damage I can do by carrying on talking about it. So yeah, well, at least it's all out in the open and they can see what, any understanding and stuff. So I'm not starting right at the beginning like I thought I was. I've kind of just gritted my teeth and told, someone I've known for 3 weeks, my intimate, private core. So, yeah. In group today, they asked about how I was feeling after sort of what I mentioned last week, and having to tell my one-to-one about sort of everything that I experienced. And it was quite hard because at first I was trying to, in a way, explain it without having to go into details about sort of what I see and things. And because they couldn't get it and were just, in a way, felt like they were just all ganging up on me, because they're like, well, you don't see it because you should be able to associate meh, 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 and all these other fucking people just sort of nagging at me. I finally just sort of snapped and told them all about how after last week's one-to-one, on the Tuesday night, I saw my shadow as I was going to bed, and it kind of just said to me, what did you hope to gain from telling them you'll never be free? And then I'd kind of seen it a lot more throughout the week. And on Saturday when I was out, there was a point where I was sort of sat on my own, just kind of having a break from everything. And I was kind of looking out at kind of like the dance floor, and my shadow was stood right next to me and was kind of like, you'll never be like any of them, you'll never be free. And then when I told it to fuck off, it kind of just got right in my face and kind of shut me up a bit. So when I told them that you had this stupid fucking girl kind of going on about her experience and how she'd learnt to control it because it's all a part of her mind and that crap. And I was like, no, love, this isn't something that's not there. This is real. You know, I've spent nights in my front room fucking in tears, panicking because it's been stomping around the flat trying to hurt me. And, you know, how can these people, like, even try to understand what it feels like when they're not even in that fucking situation? You know, and I said that, you know, to them, and they were like, well, if that's how you experience fear and you feel fear there, surely you should be able to associate that someone else might feel that. And I'm like, well, no, unless they're in that situation exactly the same, they will not feel the same. And it's like, I can't even remember what that fear feels like. I can't, you know, I just know that it was fear. And it's only, you know, I'll only be able to know what it's like or feels like when I'm experiencing it. I can't sit there and just kind of recall it. And, you know, after telling everyone about it, I was just sat there shaking because, you know what, it's like, I know I'm going to get punished again for it. For telling this group of strangers, like, and then this other girl was going on about something kind of in the same vein. And then they were like, well, what did you think of that? I was like, sorry, I zoned out because I was too fucking scared, you know, about what's going to happen to me now. And, you know, it was just sort of, I sat there and I could just see the start of it forming. And I was like, fuck. What the fuck am I meant to do? And it's like having these, stupid people in fucking therapy that think they can have a say because they've got a fucking opinion on what they believe's right or wrong. And you got the one guy saying, I can see what stage you're at. You're at the coming to terms that there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, no, there's nothing fucking wrong with me. You're all wrong. Your world's wrong. So yeah, let's see how I get treated this week. I've just come back from my one-to-one. Um, uh, yeah, we were pretty much talking about like group yesterday, and you know, I was telling her how last night, as I kind of expected, I had my shadow screaming at me all night, just screaming. Yeah. And then she tried to put it into like, the context of like this whole emotional understanding how people feel, and uh, there was like a point where she asked me to think something, and I was just like, just like fucking hitting a brick wall, or you know, just trying to turn an engine on or something, and it just nothing there. And yeah, and yeah, we were talking about uh, um just it was just pretty much me just sort of just being like, it's wrong. Everything you're saying is wrong. I know all my stuff's right, and I'm right, and everything's fucking real. You know, it's not like some woman had, which is like some fault thing or some thing she controls. That's good for her. Because mine's fucking real. And, you know, we were talking about friendships and how it just seems that it's all this sort of controlled cycle that I'm meant to be friends with people at certain points, and when that point is reached or has reached its conclusion, then that's it. They're no longer required. Their use is done, and it's so that's why everyone's kind of cut out, and you know, it's all fuck. It's just that mention of like they were like they're gonna see if this treatment is the right one because they don't want to make me worse or yeah I don't know, and it was like why are you you know, yesterday one of the guys was like, why do you even come to therapy, you know, why are you here? And it's like, I don't fucking know, because I was told to be here. You know, there's some small little bit of hope that maybe I'm wrong, maybe, you know, there is something wrong with me, you know, and that I might become normal sometime if that's what normal is. And I don't know. Also, gonna consider putting me back on medication, um, trying out different stuff, and they're gonna. It's normally after 6 weeks that they consider the sort of medication route, but I think they're thinking of bringing it forward a bit earlier, or discussing it a bit earlier. Yeah. I just want some fucking control over this stupid body that's not even mine. Instead of it all being just fucking controlled by. In therapy today, we were mainly talking about my crisis plan, and kind of writing down all the sort of signs that you can see that I'm off into one of my movements, and yeah, just to kind of make others aware, and in a way to kind of give me like a phrase that I can say to people when it's happening, so like a keyword or something like that. so yeah, so it was just pretty much about obviously when everything gets too much and how it kind of feels. It's just literally all this noise and pressure and everything, and I just want everything to shut up. And it's like everyone stops speaking English, and I just can see people at me and not actually even understand a single fucking word they're saying. Um, so yeah, and that's kind of pushes me to the point where I get these sort of, I just see myself go like on people's necks or grab a pen and just see myself stabbing them. And then it's only after I've kind of had that really intense visual image doing it that I kind of go, oh shit, that didn't actually happen, and it's still going on. So it's kind of to prevent me from taking it the next step forward, which I'm not going to. But it's nice to have the safety net involved in it, I think. So yeah, so that was that. On Thursday, I've got to go and see the doctor to talk about my medication and trying me out on a new antipsychotic. Um, so yeah, that should be interesting. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I really need to say today. Yeah. Bye. I had my appointment with the psychiatrist today, and it was pretty much just sort of telling him my experience and how everything works in my head. Um, so yeah, it was obviously quite hard to do, but I'm getting used to telling people about it. Well, people that matter about it, and like the kind of conclusion he came to is because I can't even kind of imagine a day where I'd wake up and feel like completely in control of what I do and feel connected to my body and without the sort of shadow and the darkness and all that goes with it. He said we need to make an agreement with them, um, and because it's in sort of their best interests that they let me have some control back. They're not gonna eliminate them like entirely from my life, but it's gonna kind of change the balance. So instead of being like this, it's gonna be like that. Which if it works, then I yeah I'd like that in a way. So yeah, so from Monday they put me on risperidone. So I've obviously got to go for an ECG and blood tests before they can prescribe me that, but that's all getting done on Monday after group. And yeah, I left feeling like quite positive because he didn't like when we got there. He said that he wasn't there to say whether I'm right or wrong or what I'm experiencing is real or not. He just treated it like as it is. It happens. So yeah. So yeah, it's I was on quetiapine before and it didn't it did a little bit of good, but then my shadow kind of told me they were poisoning me, so I stopped taking it. So if this new one can help better than that, then Yeah, yeah, I'll give it a try. You know, I've got nothing to lose, really, have I? So yeah, roll on Monday. In group yesterday, I had a bit of a freak out. Um, I just was sat there and they were talking about something, and I couldn't understand them. Couldn't understand even what the topic of conversation was. Um, it just sounded like every single person was having a completely different conversation to everyone else. Um, and then when I tried to explain it, no one could understand and thought that I just meant that I can understand the topic. So that really annoyed me, and I ended up snapping at someone and proper losing my temper with them all. And then kind of calmed down a bit, and then there was this other complaint someone brought, and I ended up sort of snapping again and having a proper right go at everyone. Um, so afterwards, I kind of got taken to one side by the psychiatrist, and yeah, they kind of not rushed me, well, handed me over the forms to go to the hospital and get blood tests and ECG done to make sure that I actually started my medication that day. So, so yes, that was that, and I was like sat in the hospital and I just couldn't understand anything. You know, sat in a waiting room and just hearing all this noise, and I just wanted it to shut up, but it didn't, and it just kept going and going and going, and eventually, I managed to pick up my medication. So yeah, started it last night, and yeah, this is pretty much me on my medication. Well, starting on my medication, and um, yeah, like already, sort of, it's a lot quieter in my head, and you know, I don't. It doesn't feel right, so I know I've got to get used to it. Um, I've got 2 more days on this sort of dose, and then they put me up to my actual dosage on Thursday. So yeah, so I'll let you know how it goes.